Welcome to Meta Tripping. All right, so quick FYI. I was having some difficulties with the length of the new moon videos because they were too long, and my tablet was acting up because my technology has not typically done that well with these shifts. You know, whenever there's like a shift, it's like things charge slower. There's been glitches, that kind of thing. So it's been that type of life. So I'm posting them even though we're like going to be upon the full moon in 7 days, because there's still people working through energies. We did get hit with quite a bit of shadow because this, my view on it is the Schumann resonance spiked. And what I've noticed is whenever there's an insurge or downloads of high vibrational energy, or a Schumann resonance spike, and that's like the Schumann resonance is the resonance of the planet because the planet is going up in vibration. Then there's a flushing out the same way. What's the analogy that I was using? Like, if you have like a grimy bowl sitting in the sink and you put soap in it with water or whatever, obviously all that grime's going to rise to the top, so it can be cleaned out. So it's similar to that. What happens to our energy bodies, and just the shadow energies, trauma patterns, and all of that have been deeply embedded in our bodies through generational exposure to abuses, power abuses of various kinds, which is very much the theme of Saturn in retrograde, Pluto in retrograde, which is what we're dealing with right now. And even arguably Jupiter retrograde, because Jupiter does have its shadow side, according to if you're going by what mythology is telling you. And just there's a shadow side where we're dealing with when we're dealing with the polarity of planets, it's a shadow side. And so it was a very challenging week, and I'm to understand, being a water sign, that it really was hard hitting for water signs. But I think it was hard hitting in general because in the new moon reading, Libras were having a very hard time with the energies, and Libras and Aries are on the same axis of polarity. One, Aries at one end, Libra at the other end. So there's a balancing act that those two signs have to perform. So some of that shadow energy from Libra certainly hit Aries, and vice versa. So we've all been going through it to some extent. All right, what I'm gonna do is just do a quick collective reading, and as soon as, I'm not sure if this is going up before the new moon videos, it's quite possible because I'm going to keep this brief and I'm not going to go through the individual signs on this. I'm going to wait till the full moon. But the individual readings, which are the time and date stamps, will be in the description box for the signs from the new moon phase, to the full moon, which still applies, will be going up as soon as I get them edited and uploaded, barring any glitches. Hopefully I can get them up. I was even thinking of like opening up another account somewhere where there aren't limits and that sort of thing, where it's easier to just kind of get these up, because at the end of the day they're recordings. But we'll see how it goes. All right, so the self-care card is in the Sacred Seed suit, and it's follow synchronicities. So synchronicity activity will be high for the next 5 days. So pay attention to the synchronicities that appear. These synchronicities work like, it's like spirit shining a light through the dark. So those who are still being challenged with shadow energies, or if they're, we don't know. Sometimes there are downloads of high vibrational energy, and then we have to deal with the clean out phase, which can be very jarring, especially if patterns that are, crippling fear level type of patterns emerge. All right. So hopefully that will get you through, because there's a lot of advice from Spirit on what to focus on, what specifically is being targeted, ascension wise, so that you can get it out and you can get back on your high vibrations and kind of, recoup your energy and enjoy some of the blessing energies that come with moving up, shifting up into higher vibrations. All right, doing this a little bit differently, going by elements, but the elements also have like the mind, body, soul associated with them, but this just gives like a little bit of an extra, some extra focuses to look at, because there's a totality chart in the middle. All right, here we are. We have... All right, so I'm getting, Spirit is saying, like, this reading, you know, it's basically, it's going to last until the moon phase. Spirit is saying 6 to 7 days, until the next moon phase, which is the full moon in Scorpio. So let's see what's going on and how we can maximize our adjustments to these energies. In the All is Mind, consciousness, air element placement, we have the 10 of coins, aka Pentacles. This is coins and pentacles. It's an earth suit. 10 is a number of image ordain. All right. So this is when we move past the kind of mastery of a level of identity at the number 9 vibration, which is typically associated with Mars energy and to a certain extent Scorpio energy, because originally classically Mars ruled both Aries and Scorpio until Pluto was discovered in, what was it, the 1930s? So the energy that I'm picking up with this card, all right, a few things are coming in. I'm getting like a lot of some nostalgia energy that does have to do with family. It can have to do with community, friends. You'll see that as a theme of the 10 of coins, aka Pentacles card, often for the traditional meaning. I'm also picking up that there is a sense of hope, much needed hope infusion towards long range plans and what one is possible of achieving. Now, keep in mind, we're still in a phase where planting seeds is advantageous, especially because we're dealing with retrograde cycles with some of the big boy planets, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter. This would be a planting seed, and because they're in retrograde, this would be a seed planting phase where if you're revisiting projects that you wanted to get off the ground in the past and had trouble getting off the ground, this is optimum time, ideal time to go for those, because, you know, a retrograde, it's a review period. It's also a redo period. It can be challenging to start new ventures in any kind of retrograde phase. But if you are focusing on those things which are still in your heart, those dreams that are still in your heart, seeds that you've perhaps planted and dealt with all of these maddening delays, this is a great time to burst forward and really deal with like your strategy. I'm picking up a lot of inspiration, energy, ideas, a very high vibrating, optimistic energy towards long range plans. See what else is coming up with this. All right, so there were moments, there were, I would say, plenty of moments where Spirit was directly intervening and giving us glimpses of this heart-aligned path of these higher timeline possibilities. So throughout the period of the winter, which was, you know, and even the fall, I would say, from the time of Venus in Scorpio. So it's no surprise that in Pluto retrograde, we're getting a chance to have a redo or a continuance towards a completion, or at least a progression of plans that were beginning to be seeded or what have you during those times. So Spirit was showing us there were some very optimistic times at points during the ascension process, through the fall, through a lot of the winter season, where we were able to see and feel what's possible. There were a lot of miracle moments, you know, if you were taking note of them. And what it's aligning with the energy now, that the energies of, I'm getting like February, Spirit is offering, there any other, November, some parts of January. So there were days that were just like, outside of the shadow processing, that were just bright, bright, bright and miraculous. And that energy is what's in the air right now, and what you can work with moving into the full moon in Scorpio phase. I have not done the full moon and Scorpio readings as of yet. So I won't project at this point what's going to happen then. We'll focus on now so we can maximize like this good energy that finally we're able to catch glimpses of. So like there is hope. You know what I'm saying? I did do a reading yesterday that I didn't end up putting up because I had to step out. And interestingly, and I was having a low vibrational day yesterday. But one of the cards that came up in the next placement that I'm going to read was the Nine of Cups reversed. And then the Five of Swords reversed came up next to it. And the point was basically like, I think a lot of people were facing this fear that they were losing or that they had lost touch with the manifestation of their dreams, and it was just this feeling lost, feeling defeated, but we weren't defeated, and that's what was coming through and being confirmed by spirit. And boom, here's today, and now we're getting to see some of the very positive products of the grueling shadow processing of this particular shift that we've been going through since before the new moon. I do have a video up of when I felt it start and I began to see the usual symptoms affecting my technology and affecting just my own energy and the people around me. All right, so 10 of Coins, is there anything else? It's also a wealth card, so some just off the traditionalized side of it, there can be connections made that are lucrative at this time. You do want to make sure that you thoroughly vet whoever you're dealing with, just because of the Pluto and retrograde element, and just because Saturn's a little bit relaxed right now. So you want to make sure that you're not going to be dealing with someone who doesn't want to work, but signs on and now you're locked in a contract. And you don't want to deal with con artists, even though con artists are getting ferreted out and washed out, you know what I'm saying? In this period of time, you still don't want to form alliances that are bound by a signature that would require stepping before, you know what I'm saying, like it's some sort of official to dissolve. Nobody has time for that. So do your diligence if you're going to enter into business contracts. But if you have previous business contracts that this could be a decent time, follow your vibe with it. To move forward on those things, or at least to come into kind of negotiations and work through the details. I mean, this Pluto in retrograde transit is going to be lasting into the fall, so it's going to be a long time. So it's not like we're telling everyone to put their dreams on hold and that sort of thing. Just do your diligence. It is a good time definitely to move forward on those things which have already been started before Pluto went into retrograde towards the mid end of April. All right, so is there a message from Spirit for the 10 of Coins, aka Pentacles? Spirit is saying you're on course with your dreams. Spirit is saying don't waste your time. Maximize your time, make lists. You'll get through it. Are there any warnings? Spirit is saying there are a lot of protection energies right now. So as long as you're careful with your steps, you'll be just fine. All right, so I'm being prompted to move on to the water element area, which is, soul development can show up here, soul relationships can show up here, emotional matters of internal navigation, astral matters can all show up here. We have the 9 of Coins, aka Pentacles. Yay! All right, so we have 3 Pentacles, 3 Pentacle cards coming up in this reading, and they're all upright, which is fabulous news. Fabulous news. So the 9 is the number associated with identity, with the self. It aligns with Aries. It aligns to some extent with Scorpio energies. And for it to be the 9 of Coins, aka Pentacles card, this is a card of material independence. This is a card of not having to be codependent, having risen above whatever trappings of feeling like one is unable to make their way in the world and depend upon themselves. In this card, because I use Miss Cleo's power deck, if y'all remember Miss Cleo, back with the 900 lines back in the day, her deck is dope. It's comedic, you know what I'm saying? Comedic themed. And in this particular card, we have a red bird is rested on the left hand and the right hand is touching 5 pentacles. On the left, there are 4 pentacles. So for this red bird to be over the 4 pentacles on the left, you have learned a certain degree of order. There is now more, the identity is a little more systemized, towards, because red is associated with the root chakra, the root chakra towards material abundance. Also, because it is a bird, this would be a certain level of autonomy over material abundance, or overseeing this order. So this is now gaining a certain level of mastery, or having gained a certain level of mastery over self, wisely managing the pedicles one already has, and navigating the way forward strategically, methodically. For the right hand to be over the 5 pentacles, which is like to move forward on one's path. It's indicating to me a confidence, because when you're dealing with the number 5, you're dealing with, the mind over matter, basically, if you're dealing with the energy correctly. And since, this isn't the 5 of Pentacles or the 5 of Coins card, this is the 9 of Coins card. You've already passed through this impoverished feeling. And now even whatever obstacles you're going to be dealing with, you're going to be dealing with them strategically. You're going to be using your head, and there's going to be a free flow to it. So there's a certain degree of flow that goes along with this level of graduation. Hence, self-identity, self-assurance, assurance in self, in regards to material matters, and being able to hold one's own self down, and acquire what one desires, through just one's own gifts, talents, volition, mastery, level of material godhood, if you will. And then in the background, you have, palm-looking trees, which to me represents a certain degree of leisure. So it's like, moving forward and having a certain degree of luxury to it. It's a very good card to have here, and this is in the emotional placement. The energies that are coming up around this, Spirit is saying self-confidence is, there's an emotional self-confidence of being able to move forward and deal with material matters, whatever, entrepreneurship, that sort of thing. This is in the psyche at this point for it to be in the water. Very, very good. Because if it's showing up in the psyche, it's going to show up in the physical. Is there another message from Spirit? Keep going. You don't have much farther to go. Excellent news. Just dot your I's, cross your T's. And don't get lazy, Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying some will be tempted to. And yeah, there is a transit. There's an alignment between Venus and Uranus on the 18th, and moving into, around the time of the full moon. And there can be lazy energies coming up. And if you're interested, there's a video. I think it's esoteric astrology. I really should put it in the description box. He did post a video about this, and he channels while he's dealing with whatever astrological messages he's putting out there. So it is worth your time. I do find him to be an interesting, he has an interesting approach to how he relates his methods of navigating astrological transits and patterns and what have you. And if you're interested in astrology and, moving, it's probably a little more suited towards if you're at an intermediate level, but it's definitely can expand. He definitely can help expand your understanding of certain things and add on to what you've learned and what you know. All right, so I think I should probably move on. Are there any other messages? Okay. Spirit said nope. Okay. We're moving on to the Spirit fire placements, the fire element placement. And the 4 of Staffs, aka Wands, is reversed. And so what I'm getting here is Spirit said grind time. Okay, so it does make sense with what I was picking up as that came in. What I was picking up is like, this might be a time where there are certain energies where you'd like to be out there and have fun and, be around, your community, your people. Like, those loved ones, those soul ties and bonds enjoy the weather. But for some, and maybe all, this is kind of a time where you're still going to, if you want to get through this and make the most of the seeds you've planted, you're going to want to focus on your plans. Obviously with the delays here, plans, can fall through, communal plans can fall through. There can be like little minor glitches. They can be a little more, if they do actually manifest properly, well, I wouldn't say properly, but if they do actually manage to manifest, they can, there can be a damper on things. So the message from Spirit here is get on your grind. Okay, yeah. Four of Staffs, aka Wands upright, it can be a rite of passage energy. It can be a celebration energy. It can be like that Mayday energy. The energy that comes about at the solstices, especially like, summer and spring solstices where, the sun is back and we want to celebrate and we, fire up the grill and throw the tofu, because I'm vegan, y'all, on the grill and barbecue, with your loved ones, crack a brew, whatever, pour some vegan wine. Every now and then I might hit folk in the head with it, but, no worries. I'm not a judgmental vegan by any stretch of the imagination. These things, the energy that I'm getting is really like you need to focus on handling your biz. This is what you should be doing with this time right now. And this is why the card is reversed. Make the most of it. If you're lamping, like Spirit's like, if you snooze, you lose. So if you're lamping right now and you're not being productive with your energies, and this goes for if you're going to go into and listen to the new moon readings that still, have bearing here, bear in mind, you can be in the high vibrational focus that comes up in those readings, or you can be in the low vibrational possibilities that come up in those readings. So, it may come out that the overwhelming probability is that you're on the case, but if you don't follow those energies, if you ignore these energies rising up in you to handle your business, then you're just going to be dealing with the low vibrational end of it, of your own decision. And Spirit said, and you will regret it. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I have to say is, Spirit team that I work with is on point. So if messages are coming through like that, like don't play right now. Not like that, get out, enjoy the weather a little bit, but make sure that you've done your work first, or you're only doing it to get acclimated with the day, and then get on the case. All right. Is there anything else? All right. Now we're going to move on to the 10 of Cups reversed in the manifest placement, the material placement, the earth realm placement. This can also be third dimensional karmic contracts, time limited contracts, matters of the body, health. It's the earth placement. And we know the Schumann resonance was rising, so there, it's not unsurprising that this card is 10 of Cups reversed at this time. Image ordain, whenever you see the number 10, you have the ability to deal with that one and image what you want, put it in your visualization, what have you, align your spirit and your will with what you want, and then deal with that 0 point energy, the I's and O's, that manifesting 0 point energy where you're planting your seeds, you know what I'm saying, deep, so they can manifest. But it's delayed right now. I'm getting very strongly, don't get caught or avoid getting caught up in daydreaming energies. All right. Because, we're talking about material matters. And if you're falling off the case, all of this beautiful energy that starts out, that you have in your mind and in your psyche can get waylaid. And Spirit is saying, like, thrown off course. If you get caught up in another vibrational track, these are not the times to play with. Things manifest quickly. Watch your thoughts. Watch where your focus is headed. The 10 of Cups upright typically is like it's a time of plenty and luxury and a luxury feeling at minimal and really just feeling good. When it's reversed, you can get caught up in doubts. You can get caught up in the old energies that used to not so long ago try to push that shadow agenda on you to make you feel disempowered and like you can't move forward. I'm feeling the energy with this card is self-belief is vital. It is essential right now. Push through whenever these things come through. push through. If there's something that, is a little bit disheartening, and I'm not really getting the vibe that there's a lot of strength from these shadow patterns to really cause major problems. But if there's like scares or just little things that are trying to plant seeds of doubt, go back to your self-belief. Remember the times when you've been victorious before, and when you have moved forward and chased your ambitions and seized your ambitions and handled your biz. All right, this is very important right now, because to some extent, even though these energies are wonderful, when you go to sit down and handle your stuff, there is a certain degree of psychological, I don't want to say pushback, but testing or challenging. Spirit is saying that's excellently put. Why, thank you. All right, so is there a message from Spirit? Spirit is saying I've covered it. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much what I'm getting with this card. Like, self-belief is integral. Stay on that track. And then the sum total of this reading, which, you could really just look at as, baby God self, true seed of consciousness. You have the Ace of Coins. You don't have to worry about the hesitation energies that might come with investing in your dreams. Spirit is saying you can plant more seeds now, in this energy right here. Spirit is saying there's a lot of spiritual support. The Ace of Coins, aka Pentacles, is upright. This is a card of, planting new seeds. So you can start things. I would recommend on old projects. So for instance, if you've been working on an album, you know what I'm saying, you could write a new song for the album, because the album is already an existing project. If you have an indie makeup line, you can add a new lipstick shade to this pre-existing makeup line, if you get my point. And that just applies to whatever heart line dreams you've been working on. This is a good time to plant seeds, and the vibration I'm getting around this. Okay, so Spirit is helping out. If the inspiration comes to you, Spirit is saying go with it. And that aligns. In this card, we have a hand emerging from the water, and it's upholding a pentacle. And in this deck, the Eye of Heru is on these pentacles. And this particular Eye of Heru is outlined in red. Material matters, root chakra, identity, strength, action. And Venus is in Aries right now. So, this definitely can work well in conjunction with this Venus and Aries energy. You can get more energy now by planting the right seeds. Follow your inspirations. Is there anything else from Spirit? Okay, so I'm going to move on to just really quickly to close out the theme card. Follow synchronicities. Follow those synchronicities. When you're getting recurring symbols that usually tell you you're on the verge of luck, do it now. Follow it, because Spirit is guiding you and following you through this process. I hope this was a helpful reading to y'all. It's a feel-good day today, regardless of what shadow might try to emerge. Peace and blessings on your ascension journey. Keep going. Keep believing. This is a great time to harness all of this optimism energy and pour it into your earthly manifestation of your heart-aligned dreams. All right, y'all? All right. Keep it high vibrational. Peace.